with 0 minutes and 0 seconds on the timer, I'll get started. Cassidy wanted to die. Just a few years before, her mother had died of cancer. She missed her mother so dearly that she wanted to die and go to heaven and be with her. Today I will be addressing just this topic. When someone's mother has died of cancer, how can we actually control that? How can we actually cope with that? Through the topic of how can a loving God let my mom die of cancer? We will be analyzing this through 3 main points. First, we will be looking at the reasons why suffering must happen. Then we will be going in to our next point, which is discussing how when we are down, God will come and comfort us. And finally, we will be looking at why this actually happens to some people. So let's get into that first point. Why do we have to suffer? It's a sad truth that we as humans were made perfect in the very beginning. Now, why is this sad? Not because God made us perfect and because He loved us. That's not why. But the reason why it's so sad is because we failed. We as humans had perfection, and we as humans were given everything. And yet because of our choices, because of our mistakes, we lost that. We lost that perfection right there, and we fell. We fell, and because of that, we deserve eternity apart from God. God does say in Isaiah 30:21, this is the way, walk in it. He gives us the path through the Holy Spirit, and He shows us the exact way we are supposed to go, and yet it's a problem, because He allows us to choose whether we will actually walk in that path or not. Too often people fail to walk in that path, and because of that, they must suffer the consequences. Sin entered this world, and suffering ultimately entered this world because of our choices. And because of that, we all must suffer. Now I know, if someone's mother has just died of cancer, this is not going to be a consolation for them to say, well, it's their fault. But that's the truth. The truth hurts way more than any fiction could ever hurt. And quite frankly, that is the truth. Because of our choices, we must suffer. But why? Why did we have to suffer? Again, it is because of our choices. But how can we actually cope with this? How can we cope with this? It's not going to be enough to just say, well, it was their choice. No. But instead, we can cope with this because Christ is our comforter. Which is my second point. Our comforter. We see in Matthew 11:28 that Jesus says, come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Jesus promises rest to those who will come to Him when they are weary and heavy burdened. Those who need rest and who need Him, He promises that He will be there for them. Whenever they come to Him, whenever they are in need of someone to comfort them, He will be there for them. All we have to do is ask Him for it. All we have to do is ask Him for His comfort. Which brings me to a very important point. And really the point that I have to stress in order to actually fully address this topic. Because why would God, who is all-powerful, allow people to suffer? Well, because sometimes we see redemption through suffering. Which is my final point of today's speech. Redemption through suffering. Jim Elliot, along with 4 other men, went to minister to the Auca Indian tribe. When they reached there, what happened? Each one of them was brutally massacred. They were left dead. It's a sad truth, and this story actually happened, but what was the outcome of this? Did it end there? No. But rather, Elizabeth Elliot, Jim Elliot's own wife, went to the Auca Indian tribe. She put aside her resentment for them and her unforgiveness and was able to forgive them. And because Jim Elliot paved the way for her, she was able to go and minister to this entire Indian tribe and convert them them to Christianity. If Jim Elliot had not put in the suffering, if Elizabeth had not suffered and worked through her suffering by having God as her comforter, it never could have happened. I started this speech with a story of a girl named Cassidy. Cassidy was my cousin. I say was because when she was just 8 years old, she too succumbed to cancer and died of this disease. She's now with her mother in heaven, right next to God, where she belongs. She wanted to be with God, and she put her comfort in God. Even when her mother had died of cancer, she was not willing to give up on God. Instead, she relied on him for her comfort. So whenever you are weary, whenever you are heavy laden, I encourage you to trust in God and rely on him for your comfort. Thank you.